Hi, AutoGyro here with some thoughts about Rogue Core just before its early access release. There's plenty of other videos doing a great job of introducing what Rogue Core is, how the closed alpha has gone, and the fact that Rogue Core itself is going into early access on May 20th. SNIS has several very thorough videos, and Jonatil 2 already has a beginner's guide out. Both are linked in the cards above and in the description of this video. There are plenty of other people who can do a great job of explaining what it is, including Ghost Ship themselves, so I'm not going to go over basics or how-tos. I'm going to assume you know what this game is about. Instead, I'm going to boast about my past. Please skip if you don't want to watch. Go through 4 contradictions I found in how Rogue Core is advertised and how it's implemented, and along the way and at the end I'll list some of the reasons you may love or hate this game, given some of the same playstyles I saw in all the time I've played DRG. And in the background, when I'm not making specific points, there will be my play with Olaf, Ryer, and Vio from the closed alpha. I've been playing with them on a regular basis since the beginning of the year and watched the development through the closed alpha. It's a lot of fun with that crew, and I've enjoyed it a great deal. Since the beginning, the devs have been clear that Rogue Core was going to be what Deep Rock Galactic is not. They want Rogue Core to be a tactical shooter and a roguelite, with randomized loadouts, random upgrades that scale as you get through the mission, and abilities that would be enhanced randomly through a card deck of bio boosters. Also, they wanted it to be hard. There's even a warning at the beginning that the game is meant to be hard, i.e. you'll die a lot, even from the start. I've played a lot of roguelikes and roguelites. I even played the original Rogue when it came out. When you died a lot. You died and you started over from scratch, and everything you came across was a randomized mystery, and what you got could be as damaging as it was good. I love lots of roguelite games. I got all the achievements for Hades. I've played and enjoyed RoboQuest, Balletro, Risk of Rain 2, Slay the Spire 2, Hades 2, and Dead Cells. I enjoy the whole progress of being able to get stronger simply by trying. I'm okay with dying a lot when I get visibly stronger with each earned upgrade. I've also played some highly competitive first-person shooters, where coordination is key to getting objectives done, and understanding the underlying macro game is necessary for success. I've played Rainbow Six Siege for nearly 900 hours. I've played Six's Comp TF2 for 3 seasons, and ended up with almost 2,500 hours in that game. I did a lot of Overwatch when it first came out. They were all mechanically challenging, they required coordination, strategic knowledge, and they're all pretty toxic. So, co-op is now my thing. Of course, I've enjoyed Deep Rock Galactic. I've enjoyed GTFO with my crew. The creative group problem solving needed is amazing in that game. I love Unrailed 1 and 2, Played Up, Overcooked 1 and 2, and of course, Rabbit and Steel. And the cherry on top of that particularly boastful Sunday is having tried to play DRG fast. I know how to traverse the caves, how to focus on the mission, and how to ignore what does not serve my aims. With all of that, Rogue Core should be right up my alley, given what Ghost Ship has said Rogue Core is all about. In the 6 months I've played, however, a number of thoughts about this game have bothered me enough to make me make this video. There are a lot of people who love Rogue Core, and recent decisions right before the early access have accentuated that the developers want to take this game in a direction that I am uncomfortable with. There are 4 major contradictions I want to talk about. All of these have been communicated through the feedback system to the devs already, never fear. 2, I find troublesome. 1, I find positive. And the last, I'm kind of neutral about, but I feel I should warn those who get bothered by such things. The first one was pinpointed by Gatter, and his Rogue Core has an identity problem. The video is linked in the card above and the description below. His essential point was that Deep Rock Galactic is a deliberate, slow game, and building Rogue Core on top of that engine makes the physics of the game a contradiction to the stated intent of the game. As a DRG speedrunner, I know how the caves are designed to slow teams down, and only the Scout's traversal tool allows players to go fast, and Ghost Ship removed the Scout's grapple hook from Rogue Core's tool set. So everything in the world, along with everything about how the dwarves move, is designed to slow you down. This also directly contradicts the tactical shooter aspect. As one of my Rainbow Six friends popped into a session to watch, they commented, "Is the reticle lagging your mouse? That would drive me nuts." I'd gotten so used to the way aim works in DRG, I wasn't even noticing anymore. But DRG and Rogue Core's aim is squishy, marshmallowy, not snappy the way tactical shooters are, and this is in the base underlying code. Gatter also made a point about coleslaw upgrades. He's right. There's too many basic stat upgrades and standing still upgrades instead of the scaling multipliers that make roguelites really fun. You know the fun. When your build finally comes together, you not only melt crowds of mobs, but the boss's health drops like a rock. Which brings me to the second contradiction: the conflict between co-op friendly fire and scaling damage. GTFO has friendly fire, but the damage doesn't scale with difficulty and time for every member of your party, and in that game, friendly fire does its job of making the tactical problems trickier, but not impossible. Especially when your teammates are highlighted every moment of play and you're talking to each other. Risk of Rain 2 has lots of procs and scaling, and no friendly fire, for the reason that you down every teammate you have with the same instantaneous meltdown you can apply to your enemies. The two don't mix, and Ghost Ship's recent removal of the upgrade Trigger Discipline, the one that lessens your damage to and from your teammates, from the upgrade tree makes no sense. They accompanied it with a lowering of friendly fire damage, but that should be gone, not lowered. The fact that they chose that deliberately indicates that they have no idea what the frustration cost is of holding onto that old relic of DRGs and their label of tactical shooter. The third contradiction, and this one I think could be good, lies between requiring everyone to choose just one of the classes in a team comp and the randomization of everyone's equipment and upgrades. Other games require folks to choose only one character or from a limited pool of characters to make sure that someone plays each part on the team they're supposed to. Overwatch has tanks, support, and damage dealers. You're limited to one type. Rainbow Six Siege limited picks to one per operator. And this was because while there might be some overlap between the capabilities of those characters, usually one character couldn't cover everything the others could do. Of course, there were exceptions, and Rainbow Six in particular spends an enormous amount of time and effort trying to balance between the operators. In all these cases, the character's abilities, weapons, and mobility are fixed at the start of the match. Rogue Core's classes don't have those classic domains. Instead, the domains are divided between damage domains, either giving it in specific ways that are different from each other, preventing it in different contexts, or allowing everyone else to just do more damage. And the randomization of their weapons and all the upgrades lets them grow into the other classes' classical damage support or tanking domains. Most of this footage is of my spotter doing slicer move, so you can, in this game, be a sniper-type character who's stuck with AoE and close-range weapons, and I think you can actually make it work. I suspect that the class exclusivity is less about providing cooperative team play, and more about allowing the devs to be able to balance the bosses against the teams without having to resort to extreme measures, since the class definitions are all about the damage. Having 4 spotters who could altogether add another 200% damage would be really tough to balance against a team who had no spotter, or having 4 falconers. Just look at this. Against a team with none would be absurd. Card decks in this game provide bio booster upgrades that are specific to the class. There's now a way to randomize which card deck each player gets, and your promotion skills allows you to mix decks between promoted classes. This muddles the class distinction even more. But that's provided some really interesting ways to play the game. If you get the Falconer Electrocution deck, but are any other class, you find that you have to either stick close to your Falconer, get a random electronic upgrade, or change your playstyle to fit being around shocked enemies. In particular, I think this contradiction can make for really interesting gameplay. And lastly, there's the grind contradiction. Because grinds in other games make very visible improvements in your ability to do damage and have some agency in the upgrades or weapons you get to choose from. The grind in Rogue Core is huge. The map of enhancements is enormous, and they all cost more and more experience in the game as you go up them. Each of the characters also has an upgrade grind, in that the slots to use the enhancements cost experience as well. So, switching from character to character is expensive, and if you're locked out of the character you spent all your time on because of the only one of each character mechanic, you're out of luck. On top of that, for the early access at least, there are only 3 end bosses, and a rather limited pool of side jobs to do for Expedite. If you were someone who was easily bored by DRG's mission types and found everything too repetitive, this is more of the same, but on steroids. Everything is fight lots of mobs to get enough upgrades to beat a boss with limited sets of moves. Everything. Ghost Ship was kind enough to allow folks in the closed alpha, after every update that destroyed our save files, to cheat things in to test higher level play. And when I cheated everything in, most of the enhancements didn't really make my play feel any better. And in particular, there are no mechanics for limiting your randomized pools of upgrades, or throwing out things you hate for weapons or tools or grenades. Experience doesn't even add things to those pools that feel amazing. That might come with the actual release, who knows, but it's really rough to grind shit out and not feel rewarded by it. Now for the part where I'm going to call out some play styles and desires, and how this game will fit or not fit you. If you like the fact that DRG had a high skill ceiling, and how knowing was half the battle in DRG, you will enjoy exploring all these new possibilities and testing them against each other. If you drank randomizers before every mission because you were bored of the old loadouts in Deep Rock and loved it most when it made shit loadouts for you and you had to make them work, this is for you. If you love the whole skill of crafting a loadout specifically for a situation, I'm sorry to say, this is not going to be your game. For those of you who are absolutely sure that your loadout was God's gift to all others, I'm so glad to say this isn't for you. If you were in DRG only for Scout and his grapple, I apologize. Ghost Ship threw all of that out. If you loved lingering in the caves, petting everything that can be pet, doing nothing but riding cave angels, mining every speck of gold, saving every loot bug, and calling out every mushroom or pinging every gold chunk until management gets upset, this might not be for you. Though honestly, even with my speedrunning crew, we still make the opportunity to do some of these things. I mean, mushroom! I hope you really get to enjoy what you play. It is a game, after all, and you might do great on the first 2 depths and enjoy yourselves a lot. If you hate being under time pressure, the total mob chaos of Has 5+ bugs, and got I like it down here very early on in your career as a dwarf, this probably is not for you. If you can tell when the reticle lags your mouse, you might want to nope on out of here. If you like to talk to people in the game and actually coordinate who wants what when the upgrades happen, or love speaking up to coordinate things like grenade tosses when Spotter puts a spot, when Guardian puts down his shield regen, or Cutter who likes to put his projectile shield up for all his teammates, please join up, play more. Comms are the difference between casual and comp, as my old teammate who went on to Invite used to say. If what you loved most was kiting through a mission with 4 scouts so you could all go fast, or have 4 NGs on an egg mission for the absurdity of it, or 4 drillers for the heavy extraction mission, or having 4 gunners because it was fun to be invulnerable forever on salvage or escorting Betsy, this, sadly, won't be for you. If you find higher hazard DRG to be too fast, too confusing, too frantic, this will probably be out of your comfort zone, and I'm personally sorry that that's the case. You're the folks I loved most to play with, to show that you're capable of amazing things as we learn more together. When I play this game, I go back to DRG for the relief of a single mission for 15 or 20 minutes with friends, where we can just dance, drink beers, play around doing the thing we want to do, and chasing shinies is just fun and not a way to get everyone else killed. All that said, I have mixed feelings about this game. I'm not up to that grind from scratch for the third time, especially for the lack of reward and what I feel is a stupid decision to stick with friendly fire mechanics. I did the grind twice already because of how the alpha went and missing some of the cheat windows, and I don't know that I'll be playing more than once a week when I'm home from all my travels. My life has changed, and I'm traveling at least once a month, so I haven't been great about making dense content. I apologize. I enjoy the challenge of Rogue Core when I have enough energy to juggle the random loadouts and how they work along with the pressure and traversal problems. Combined with how hard it is to get a team I can talk with, I really don't know how much I'll play this game. And for most of the folks I played DRG with, I don't know if I could recommend this for them. It really feels like Ghost Ship has made a deliberate break from its old user base in the pursuit of the tactical shooter and highly popular roguelite markets. I wish Ghost Ship all the luck in the world with this contradictory mix of a game. It certainly is unique, and they've certainly stuck to their principles in its making. Kudos to them. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Autogyro.